My brothers and sisters, how many times have you carried a worry in your heart, so heavy thinking, how will I ever get through this? You tried to plan every detail. You tried to hold on tightly. But the more you controlled, the more restless you became. That is because peace does not come from controlling life. It comes from trusting the one who controls it all. Allah reminds us in the Qur'an, and whoever relies upon Allah, then He is sufficient for him. 65.3 When you truly put your trust in Allah, the burden on your shoulders begins to lift. Doors you never imagined open. Hardships turn into lessons. What looked like a loss becomes protection, and what felt delayed arrives at the perfect time. Trusting Allah is not weakness, it is power. It is saying with your heart, "Yeah Allah, I don't know the way, but you do. I can't see the future, but you already wrote it." And that trust transforms everything. Your mindset, your peace, and your life. 1. The illusion of control. We live in a world where people convince themselves that if they plan enough, work enough, and control enough, they can shape every outcome of their lives. Yet time and again, Allah reminds us that control belongs to Him alone. The Quran says, "And Allah is predominant over His affair," but most of the people do not know. 12:21. What we think we control is only a small part of a much greater plan. The illusion of control is what makes hearts restless. When something does not go our way, we feel as though life is falling apart. But in truth, it was never in our hands to begin with. Allah says, "And it is He who takes your souls by night and knows what you have committed by day." 6:60. Every heartbeat, every breath, every moment is by His command. When we chase control, we end up chasing disappointment. We schedule life down to the smallest detail. But a single decree from Allah can shift everything. A believer understands this, and Sunnahs. The Prophet taught us, be keen on what benefits you. When you learn to trust Allah completely, you begin to realize that peace of mind is not found in wealth, in power, or in people's approval, but in the certainty that the one who created you will never abandon you. Many of us go through life carrying unnecessary burdens, stressing about matters that are already written, worrying about outcomes that are not even in our control. We lose sleep over tomorrow, when in reality tomorrow is in the hands of Allah. The moment you surrender your worries and your struggles to Him, you feel an incredible sense of relief, as if a heavy load has been lifted from your shoulders. You no longer need to pretend to be in charge of what was never yours to begin with. Look at the way Allah has always been there for you in the past. Every time you thought you would not make it, He created a way out. Every time you thought the doors were shut, He opened new ones you never expected. If you take a moment to reflect, you will realize that you have survived things you once thought would break you. That was not your strength, that was Allah's mercy and protection upon you. So if He has carried you through yesterday, what makes you doubt that He will carry you through today and tomorrow? Trusting Allah does not mean you sit back and do nothing. It means you work hard, you take the steps you can, but deep down you know that the results are in His hands. You no longer panic if things don't go according to your plan, because you know His plan is always superior. Sometimes, what you wanted so badly would have destroyed you, and what you feared so much actually turned out to be a blessing. Allah sees what you cannot see. He knows what you do not know. He plans for you in ways that protect you from harm and guide you to what is better for your soul. When you put your full reliance on Allah, your heart stops shaking in the face of difficulties. People may disappoint you, the world may betray you, but your Lord will never fail you. He is Al-Wakil, the best disposer of affairs. When you trust Him, He gives you strength to face trials with patience, to smile even in pain, to keep walking when the path seems blocked. That inner calmness, that unshakable faith, that hope that never dies, it only comes from trusting Allah. And the more you trust Him, the more He shows you signs that He is in control. You begin to witness how problems resolve themselves in unexpected ways, how opportunities appear out of nowhere, how doors open where there were only walls. This is not coincidence. This is the power of Tawakkul, the power of handing your affairs to the one who controls the heavens and the earth. When you face challenges in life, the natural reaction is fear, stress, or even hopelessness. But when you put your trust in Allah, every challenge begins to look different. What once appeared as an obstacle now becomes an opportunity for growth. The difficulties that used to paralyze you become lessons that shape you, refine you, and draw you closer to your Creator. You start to realize that every hardship is not meant to break you, but to prepare you, not meant to punish you but to elevate you. This is the secret of Tawakkul, trusting that behind every test there is wisdom, behind every delay there is goodness, and behind every closed door there is a better opening waiting for you. When Allah places a challenge in your path, it is not without purpose. Think about how gold is purified. It is placed in fire so that the impurities are burned away. In the same way, your trials burn away your doubts, your pride, your dependence on people, and they leave you shining stronger than before. Many times, we ask Allah for success, for peace, for strength, but then we resist the very challenges that come to build those qualities within us. The person who trusts Allah learns to embrace hardship, knowing that there is a divine gift hidden within it. Remember, the Prophet Muhammad went through challenges far greater than ours. He lost loved ones, faced rejection, persecution, hunger, and battles. Yet through it all, he never lost hope, because his trust in Allah was unshakable. He showed us that challenges are not a sign that Allah has abandoned you, but a sign that Allah wants to raise your rank. If the Prophet, the most beloved to Allah, endured so much, then our difficulties are not proof of weakness. They are opportunities to prove our reliance on Allah. When you begin to trust Allah, the fear of failure disappears. You know that no matter how things unfold, it will always be in your best interest. Even if the world calls something a setback, in the sight of Allah it might be a step forward. Even if you feel something has been taken away, Allah is preparing to replace it with something far better. This mindset transforms the way you walk through life. You no longer see yourself as a victim of circumstances, you see yourself as a servant of Allah being guided through a journey of growth and preparation. It is in the moments of difficulty that you truly witness the miracles of Allah. When the sea split for Prophet Musa in Hiras, it was at the point of desperation, when there seemed to be no escape. When Maryam tcc was alone in pain, Allah provided her with water and dates from the palm tree. In the darkest times, the light of Allah shines brightest. Challenges are not meant to crush you, but to remind you that your strength is limited and His is unlimited. That is why every challenge, with tawakkul, becomes an opportunity to experience His power, His mercy, and His plan unfolding in your life. There are moments in life when we plan, we dream, we set goals, and we convince ourselves that everything must happen exactly as we have envisioned it. But very soon reality teaches us that not all plans go the way we want. At times we achieve what we desire, but at other times doors close, opportunities vanish, and the things we worked for slip away. This is when we must remind ourselves that Allah's plan is always better than ours. His knowledge is infinite, His wisdom is perfect, and His love for us surpasses the love of any human being. What He chooses for us is far greater than what we would ever choose for ourselves. Think about your own past. How many times did you wish for something with all your heart, only to later discover that not having it was the best thing that ever happened to you? How many times did you cry over something that left you, only to thank Allah years later, because He replaced it with something far more beautiful? This is a reminder that what you perceive as a loss might in fact be a blessing in disguise. Allah sees what you cannot see. He knows the outcome of every decision, the consequences of every path, the dangers hidden behind what you think is good, and the benefits hidden behind what you think is bad. When we believe our plan is perfect, we easily become frustrated when things don't go our way. But the believer with true tawakkul understands that delays are not denials, and redirections are not rejections. Sometimes, Allah redirects you because He wants to save you from harm. Sometimes, He delays your dream because the time is not right. And sometimes, He withholds something because He wants to give you better than what you are asking for. It is only when you surrender to His plan that you begin to see how everything fits together in ways you never imagined. The lives of the prophets are filled with examples of Allah's plan being better. Yusuf Khalifi was thrown into a well, sold as a slave, and imprisoned unjustly. To the human eye, his story looked like a tragedy, but to Allah it was the journey to kingship. Musa Yunanitulan, she was placed as a baby in a basket upon the river, a situation that seemed terrifying, yet it was that very moment which led him to be raised in the palace of Pharaoh, protected by the will of Allah. And our beloved Prophet Muhammad was forced to leave Makkah. But that migration to Medina opened the door for Islam to flourish across the world. When you begin to truly believe that Allah's plan is always better than yours, life becomes easier to bear. You stop chasing after what is not written for you, and you stop complaining about what has been decreed for you. Instead, you start walking with contentment, with the realization that whatever happens is exactly what was meant to happen, and whatever missed you was never meant for you. That certainty brings peace to the heart and strength to the soul, because you know you are being guided by the One who never makes a mistake. One of the greatest gifts that comes with trusting Allah is that it removes fear and anxiety from the heart. Human beings naturally worry about what will happen tomorrow, how they will provide for their families, whether they will succeed in their efforts, or how they will survive the storms of life. Fear and anxiety creep in, because we believe everything rests on our shoulders. But when you place your reliance on Allah, you understand that you are not alone. And you are not in control of outcomes. You do your best, you make your effort, but you let your heart rest in the knowledge that Allah is in charge. This realization is what brings an incredible calmness to life. When you carry the weight of the world on your own, you feel crushed, but when you hand it over to Allah, you feel light. The fear of failure, the fear of loss, the fear of what people might say, all of these fears begin to fade. Because you now know that everything happens only by the permission of Allah, and no one can harm you, no one can take from you, no one can block what is written for you, unless Allah allows it. That understanding gives you courage to face situations that once terrified you. Instead of panic, you begin to feel patience. Instead of anxiety, you begin to feel hope. Look at the companions of the Prophet I. They faced battles where they were outnumbered, where defeat seemed certain from a worldly perspective. Yet they stood firm. Not because they trusted in their weapons or their numbers, but because they trusted in Allah. Their hearts were at peace even in the middle of fearsome situations. That is the power of Tawakkul. It calms the soul, even when the surroundings are chaotic. And when the heart is calm, the mind becomes clearer, decisions become wiser, and strength multiplies. Fear often comes from the illusion that we are in control, but Tawakkul reminds us that control belongs only to Allah. How many times have you worried endlessly about something that never even happened? How many nights have you spent awake with anxiety, only to later realize it was wasted energy? Trusting Allah means you stop tormenting yourself with, what if, and what will be. Instead, you say, whatever Allah wills, will be, and whatever He does not will never be. This mindset replaces worry with trust, and anxiety with peace. Even in the most difficult times, those who rely on Allah find a calmness that others cannot understand. When people see you smiling through your pain, standing tall through your trials, they wonder how you manage. But the truth is, it is not your strength. It is the tranquility Allah places in the hearts of those who rely on Him. The storms may still rage around you, but inside your heart there is a quiet ocean of peace, because you know the one steering your ship will never let you drown. When you trust Allah, you begin to see the world differently. Gratitude and patience naturally grow in your heart. You stop living with constant complaints and comparisons, and instead, you start living with appreciation for what you have, while patiently waiting for what is yet to come. This combination of gratitude and patience is one of the most powerful qualities a believer can possess. Gratitude keeps your heart alive with positivity, and patience keeps your soul firm during tests. Together, they create a state of inner peace that cannot be shaken by the ups and downs of life. So many people spend their days focusing on what they don't have. They scroll through the lives of others, comparing their blessings with their own struggles. This creates bitterness, envy, and dissatisfaction. But the one who trusts Allah knows that every blessing they have, no matter how small, is a gift from Him. The ability to wake up in the morning, to breathe, to walk, to see, to hear, to think clearly. These are blessings that millions of others are deprived of. Trusting Allah teaches you to look at what you have instead of obsessing over what you don't, and that is where true contentment is found. When you are grateful, Allah promises to give you more. He says in the Qur'an, "If you are grateful, I will surely increase you." This is not only about material wealth, it includes peace, happiness, opportunities, and even strength to overcome challenges. Gratitude is like a magnet that draws more blessings into your life. But the key is that gratitude must not only be on your lips, it has to live in your heart and reflect in your actions. You thank Allah by using His blessings in ways that please Him. You thank Him by remembering Him often, by helping others with what you have, and by never taking the little things for granted. Patience, on the other hand, is the companion of gratitude. Life will not always give you what you want, and not everything will come at the time you desire. There will be delays, disappointments, and difficulties. Without patience, the heart quickly falls into despair. But when you trust Allah, patience becomes easier, because you understand that His timing is perfect. Sometimes you are kept waiting, because Allah wants to protect you from rushing into harm. Sometimes you are made to endure, because Allah wants to strengthen you. And sometimes you are tested because Allah wants to elevate your rank and cleanse your sins. With this understanding, patience stops feeling like a punishment, and begins to feel like preparation. Patience is not just about sitting back and doing nothing. It is about continuing to try, continuing to pray, and continuing to have good thoughts of Allah, even when things are tough. It is about controlling your anger when you are provoked, holding your tongue when you feel like complaining, and restraining yourself from actions that displease Allah. Patience is an active form of strength. It is the ability to smile when things are heavy, to forgive when you are wronged, and to keep moving forward when the path feels blocked. Only those who trust Allah are able to practice this level of patience, because they know that every second of their endurance is being recorded and rewarded by Him. If you look at the lives of those closest to Allah, you will find gratitude and patience at the core of their journeys. Prophet Ayyub Inisiya, etc. endured years of illness and loss, yet he remained patient and never lost hope. He continued to call upon Allah with humility, and Allah restored his health and granted him more than what he had lost. Prophet Yunus, he was swallowed by the whale, alone in the darkness of the ocean, yet he turned to Allah in gratitude and repentance, and Allah rescued him. Our beloved Prophet Muhammad, lived through hunger, hardship, loss of loved ones, and persecution, but he never stopped thanking Allah and never gave up patience. Their examples show us that gratitude and patience are not abstract concepts, they are practical ways of living, especially in the most challenging times. When you combine gratitude and patience, your outlook on life completely transforms. Imagine someone who loses a job. Without trust in Allah, they fall into panic, self-pity, and negativity. But with trust in Allah, they say, Alhamdulillah, this job was not meant for me, and Allah will replace it with something better. Instead of collapsing, they patiently search for new opportunities, and they remain grateful for the skills, health, and family they still have. Eventually, Allah opens a door they never expected, and their faith grows stronger. This is the power of gratitude and patience. It turns every loss into a lesson and every delay into a doorway. Gratitude also protects the heart from greed. When you are truly thankful, you stop chasing after every shiny thing the world dangles in front of you. You realize that contentment is not in having everything, but in appreciating what you already have. The Prophet I said, look at those below you, and do not look at those above you, for this is more likely to prevent you from belittling the favors Allah has bestowed upon you. This perspective is life-changing. It prevents you from falling into endless comparison, and it fills your heart with peace. Patience, on the other hand, protects the heart from despair. In moments of hardship, Shaitan tries to whisper to you that Allah has abandoned you, that your prayers are not being heard, that your struggles have no purpose. But the believer who trusts Allah fights those whispers with patience. They remind themselves that every hardship carries within it a hidden ease, as Allah promised in the Qur'an. Indeed, with hardship comes ease. Patience is not about denying your pain, but about choosing to endure with faith, knowing that relief is on its way. The beautiful thing about gratitude and patience is that they are connected. Gratitude makes patience easier, and patience makes gratitude deeper. When you are grateful for the blessings you already have, you find it easier to wait for the ones you don't yet have. And when you are patient through difficulties, you become even more grateful when relief finally arrives. They work hand in hand to keep your heart balanced, no matter what life throws at you. Trusting Allah does not mean your life will be free of struggles. It means your struggles will no longer destroy you. Gratitude will keep your heart alive during blessings, and patience will keep your soul steady during trials. Together, they form a shield that protects you from both arrogance in times of ease and despair in times of hardship. With them, you walk through life with a smile on your face and hope in your heart, because you know that everything you face is part of Allah's plan, and His plan is always for your ultimate good. When you place your trust in Allah, you open doors to blessings and miracles that you could never have imagined. Life often feels like a maze, where you walk and walk but only find walls blocking your path. You feel stuck, unsure of where to go, and you start to believe that perhaps there is no way forward. But when you truly rely on Allah, He creates openings in places you thought were dead ends. He provides solutions from sources you never considered, and He places ease in situations that seemed impossible to bear. This is the reality of Tawakkul. It is not just a belief, it is an experience of seeing the unseen hand of Allah working in your life in the most subtle yet powerful ways. Blessings are not only measured in material wealth or worldly success. Sometimes the biggest blessing is a peaceful heart in the middle of chaos. Sometimes it is having the strength to forgive someone who wronged you, or the ability to keep smiling even when everything feels heavy. When you trust Allah, He fills your heart with a tranquility that no amount of money or power could ever buy. That is why some people who have very little in this world still live with a sense of joy, while others who seem to have everything live in constant emptiness. The difference is not what they own, but who they rely upon. When your heart relies on Allah, you are always rich, no matter what your hands hold. Miracles too unfold in the lives of those who trust Allah. A miracle is not always something dramatic like the splitting of the sea, or the healing of an incurable disease. Sometimes it is waking up one morning and realizing that the burden you carried for years no longer feels as heavy. Sometimes it is the sudden arrival of help at the exact moment you needed it. Sometimes it is a door opening that you had given up on long ago. These are signs from Allah, reminders that He is in control, and that He answers the call of those who put their trust in Him. Think of the story of Maryam indi He. She was in a moment of weakness, giving birth alone under the palm tree, with no one to support her. From a worldly perspective, her situation seemed hopeless. But Allah provided her with dates from the tree, and a stream of water at her feet. This was a miracle, a blessing that came at the moment of greatest need. The same Lord who took care of her takes care of you. When you feel abandoned, when you feel like no one is there for you, remind yourself that Allah is always there, and His help can come in ways that defy logic. Look also at the example of Musa and his people. Trapped between Pharaoh's army and the sea, escape seemed impossible. But Allah commanded the sea to split, and what appeared to be certain destruction turned into salvation. This shows us that miracles do not come before tawakkul, they come after it. When you stand firm in your faith, when you refuse to give up on Allah, even when everything around you says there is no way, that is when the miracle unfolds. Trust precedes victory, faith comes before the breakthrough. In our own lives, we might not see seas splitting, but we see our own types of miracles. A debt that seemed impossible to pay suddenly gets cleared. A job that seemed out of reach suddenly becomes yours. A sickness that weighed you down suddenly leaves your body. A relationship that was broken suddenly finds healing. These are everyday miracles that happen when you rely on Allah. The problem is that many of us fail to recognize them. We label them as coincidences, as luck, as chance. But the believer knows that nothing happens by chance. Every blessing, every solution, every unexpected ease, it is all from Allah, and it is all part of His plan for those who put their trust in Him. When you rely on Allah, He places barakah, divine blessing, in what you have. Barakah means that something small produces big results, something limited brings unlimited goodness, something ordinary turns extraordinary. A small income somehow covers all your needs, a short amount of time somehow allows you to accomplish so much. A little effort somehow leads to massive results. This is the hidden power of barakah, and it comes when you put your reliance on the one who controls all outcomes. Without trust in Allah, even a lot feels empty. But with trust in Him, even a little becomes more than enough. Relying on Allah also opens the door to guidance. Many times, we stand at crossroads, unsure of what decision to make. We fear making the wrong choice, we fear regret, and we fear loss. But when you put your trust in Allah, you ask Him sincerely to guide you, and then you move forward with confidence, knowing that whatever unfolds is the best for you. Even if things don't go as you hoped, you understand that this was Allah's way of redirecting you to something better. That mindset transforms confusion into clarity, hesitation into confidence, and fear into hope. Trusting Allah does not mean that life will suddenly become easy. It means that life will become meaningful. It means that you will stop being consumed by panic every time something goes wrong. And instead, you will wait with hope, knowing that something good is coming. It means you will stop tying your happiness to things you cannot control, and instead anchor your heart to the one who controls everything. And when you do that, every challenge becomes lighter, every blessing becomes sweeter, and every moment of your life becomes filled with purpose. When you live with tawakkul, you start to notice blessings where you never noticed them before. The smile of a child, the comfort of a prayer, the kindness of a stranger, the safety of a home. All of these become signs of Allah's care for you. You stop taking the small things for granted, and you start to live with constant awareness that Allah is giving you far more than you could ever count. And the more you notice these blessings, the more blessings come your way. Gratitude attracts increase, and trust brings miracles. Even when you are tested, you begin to see the blessing hidden inside the hardship. The difficulty that forces you to pray more is a blessing. The trial that humbles you and reminds you of your need for Allah is a blessing. The setback that makes you reflect and change direction is a blessing. When you trust Allah, you stop labeling things as purely good or purely bad. You start to understand that everything He sends has goodness in it, whether you can see it immediately or not. This way of living changes your entire relationship with the world. You stop chasing after people, because you know that provision comes from Allah, not from them. You stop fearing the future, because you know that tomorrow is already written by the one who loves you more than you love yourself. You stop drowning in regret about the past, because you know that whatever happened was meant to teach you, not to destroy you. This freedom is one of the greatest blessings of tawakkul. It liberates you from the prison of worry, and places you in the garden of peace.